Hello and welcome to a kind of follow-up video. Bit of a weird one this because I've already kind of talked about it, but I wanted to talk about more of it. Um, just a follow-up really on the Laurel and Hardy set from Eureka. Laurel and Hardy, The Silent Years, 1927, spine number 294 in the Masters of Cinema collection. I've talked about this in a previous video and just my general impressions of it and how much I've been loving it. I've now finished the first disc, the first of two, and I can now say, having gone through 50% of this set, I think this is one of the best Blu-ray releases ever. For me, have I seen every Blu-ray ever? No. But I've seen, a couple thousand, I think, and gone through extras and all that sort of stuff. And it's all personal preference, right? But for me, this is just such a great Blu-ray, right? And I don't mean to come across as a shill here. This is genuine passion and genuine sentiment. This is a special release. Now, I know that they've done a set in America, which has the same films, and I believe pretty much identical restorations. I don't know if there's maybe some new stuff, because it just seems like they keep finding stuff. The opening title card of every film, it tells you all the different, as I've said, all the different areas from which they've pulled for the restorations and stuff, like a frame from this film, a shot from that film, you know. But, the extras presented here, in particular, the David Collett commentaries, I mean, just a wonderful kind of education in the world of early Laurel and Hardy. And I've gone through the first disc, all the films, all the commentaries, the extras, and man, the Stan Laurel interviews on disc one are just such a delight. It just feels like it shouldn't exist. I think I've said that before, but man, like, what a wonderful man! Like, I just loved hearing his sentiments on the whole journey. Really, there's a 70+ minute audio interview that plays over just imagery on the Blu-ray, and it was just a really, pretty robust, I would say, career retrospective. He doesn't talk a lot about Laurel and Hardy films, even in like specificity, but there's a lot about his early days, which I absolutely loved, like working with the Frank Carno company and coming up with Chaplin, in London or around the UK in like late 1900s. And then 1910 going to America. There's also like 8-minute interview done a couple of years after the main one on the disc, where he talks pretty much only exclusively about that part of his life and going over to America in 1910 on a cattle ship that took 10 days to get there, extremely uncomfortable conditions, and then arriving in America and their show gets cancelled after one day, but they kept on touring around and started to build up some success. And this is where Chaplin would eventually kind of break out and was seen and went to America and became the most famous man in the world in the 1910s. But I there's so much I could talk about in terms of just that interview alone with Stan Laurel, and there's so many funny moments but just heartwarming moments too, and kind of hearing about him in later life. But just all that aside, just the films that are presented in this set, the fact that it opens with the first film that Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy ever appeared in together, and they weren't even like a double act or anything. They just were two people in one movie. And then the same for the next film. It's another film that they were both in but didn't really have much connection with. And so you're really seeing every film that they've been in the silent era. And then once you hit 1927, the first film, they're kind of together, and it's like, oh my god, this is it. And then the next one, they're not kind of together. It's like, oh, they've taken a step back, and they hadn't quite figured it out yet. But you quite literally see, like, all the mannerisms that you know and love from Laurel and Hardy, you see them kind of just bubbling out, film by film. Stan's smile gets a bit more, like it refines itself, film by film. And there's you see Ollie, and he's like his big kind of booming personality and everything really pops on the screen. Really comes across his attitude and personality, even though it's a silent film. But he's playing characters that you're not usually associated to seeing him, play. And then all of a sudden, there's just the look to camera, the exasperation. And I was like, oh, it's starting. It almost gives me goosebumps. Like that you can see it starting. It's amazing. Like, and maybe I'm overstating it, but man, it's such a joy to see. And then by the final film on the disc, you kind of see them kind of bickering with each other and at each other's throats and stuff. And I forget the name of the film now, but I'm taking so many fucking notes for this. I have like about 20 pages of notes. So my full review of this set is going to be like the biggest review I've ever done or probably will ever do. But I'm going to do it because I'm crazy and I want to go all out on this. But I mean, yeah, you can just look at the back of the Blu-ray and just see, just some of the extras, and just all the stuff that's on it. I just think Eureka have done an amazing job with this. Paul Merton writing, little a page kind of articles on every single film, like just every attention to detail is there. And then the films themselves and seeing how good they look. On the second disc, I have perused a little bit. There's Super 8 versions of some of the films. Not all of them, but it's about 20 minutes worth of footage. But you can look at that stuff and see quite literally the dawn of home video 8mm film. And just see how ropey it looks. And then look at the same film on the Blu-ray in the restored version. And it's just like this complete transformation. And it's just amazing that these films still exist, that we're able to see them. But in particular with these two guys, to see this duo, this classic comedy act, legendary. You see the very first baby steps of it, and you just see it all coming together on screen. And that has been just such an amazing experience for me as a film fan, as a fan of Laurel and Hardy. They're funny films, they're enjoyable films, some are better than others, but the core concept of just seeing this partnership kind of be born and birthed in front of your very eyes through each film is just such a treat. It really is. I'm just loving it, and just seeing them kind of hone in on certain things that, that really worked. Let's do that again next time and let's build upon it, And I still haven't got yet to the film where they're Laurel and Hardy. It's always like a Stan Laurel film with Oliver Hardy, or presenting Mae Bush with Stan Laurel and Oliver. There's always like some other person, or it's not quite a Laurel and Hardy production yet. And so I believe on the second disc that's when it really kicks into high gear. And then 1928, I believe, is when they really found their footing as a team. And I can say that Eureka are releasing a second volume of this. Not that I have any inside intel on that, but in the booklet for this, Paul Merton says that one of the funniest films ever made is included in Volume 2 of this collection. And there is a spine number that has suspiciously been jumped over in the currently announced titles from Eureka, and that would be spine number 295, directly after this one. So you can only assume that perhaps in December, maybe January of next year, we will be getting spine number 295, and it will be Laurel and Hardy, The Silent Years, 1928. I cannot wait. But I'm also just, taking my time with this and soaking it up. There's also on the first disc an extra that's like this record that they made when they went to the UK in 1932, I believe. And it's kind of a 12-inch, 8-inch, I don't know, but it's like it's a small record where both sides, about 8 minutes in length. And the first side is Ollie saying, well, we'd like to thank our British fans and everything. And then Stan keeps interrupting him. And they do a bit of a comedy bit. And then the second half is their theme song, which we all know and love. But they run that on the disc over footage of their 1932 visit to the UK. And that stuff itself is wonderful. And I think it's in Tynemouth, I think. It might even say on the back here. If I can even find my place in any of this stuff, because there's just so many things. Oh, I think I just saw Tynemouth. Yes. 1932 recording by Laurel and Hardy to promote their UK tour, featuring footage of the duo visiting Tynemouth. I believe Stan had some ties there, but you see them kind of like in silent footage, kind of greeting fans and giving out gifts to kids, doing a bit of shtick in front of the crowd. I mean, man, it's just gold. It's fucking gold, man. Ah, I love that. Again, it's one of the best Blu-rays ever for me. I'm so over the moon with this. It's just, yeah, it's one of those things that makes me so happy to be a film collector, a physical media enthusiast. It's this whole collection right here in this one little kind of cool package that is just a massive slice of kind of comedy film history. And I'm just having the best time with it, honestly. And then near the end of that footage, I thought, is that Stan and his dad? Because they're looking at each other so lovingly, this older man. And then he kisses him. So yeah, okay, it's his dad. And then there's a woman there and he kisses the woman. It's his parents. And it's just, you don't hear what they're saying, but like the father and son are just beaming with, enjoyment of being together. Stan just, you can tell how much he looks up to his dad just by the way he's looking at him. I don't know anything about his relationship with his father. I know that his father was in the entertainment business and stuff, and a performer. He didn't want Stan to get into performing himself. He wanted him to be more of like working in the theater business, kind of like front of house and stuff. But anyway, I don't know much about their relationship, but you can just see it in his eyes and the way he looks at his dad, how much he loves him and how happy he is to be there with him. And then you could just see in the father how proud he is of his son. It's a really moving piece of footage. And just the fact that that's kind of like a double extra. It's like this 1932 silent footage of them visiting the UK in 1932 on top of this vinyl recording. Like, they've just gone so fucking far out of their way to make this an incredible release. I can't praise it enough. This has been my second video talking about it. It will not be my last. But I think from here on out, I will just continue working judiciously on my full review of this set, talking about every film, every extra, having some clips and some stills. I'll try not to go overboard, to let you guys enjoy it for yourselves, but I really want to do the deep, deep dive on this and really just celebrate what is, again, for me, if not one of the best, then at the very least, one of my all-time favorite Blu-ray releases. I feel like I'm being a bit aggressive in this video. I apologize if it comes across that way, but I just, it's a nice outlet for me on my channel to just gush about stuff when I want to gush about it. So, yeah, there you go. That's my kind of, oh, can you hear that? My stomach rumbling. Yeah, that's what happens when you try and lose weight and decide to not eat after midnight, and then your only option of filming is like after midnight, and my stomach starts to grumble, and you can actually hear that, I think, a fair amount on the full review, which I've started filming for the Laurel and Hardy. Started filming. Very Cardiff, that. Anyway, that's it. Man, I cannot wait for disc 2. Like, I'm just in heaven, man. A big silent film fan, and I haven't talked about, I have talked about it, but you haven't seen that yet. I talk a lot about my, where I stand with Laurel and Hardy in the main review, but it's not like I'm a huge super fan. But this release with the commentaries, again, like, and there's different people doing different commentaries and different perspectives, and learning about some of the actors that that Laurel and Hardy would work with again and again, and say, oh, I really like that woman, and they say, yeah, she appears in many future Laurel and Hardy films. Okay, great. James Finlayson, I'd never seen him before. Watched the first film he did with them, Blind, and I thought, that guy's really good. And then in the commentary, it's like, oh yeah, he did lots of stuff with them, so awesome. I'm enjoying that kind of snowball effect too, of kind of quite literally just picking up people as they go who they work well with to kind of put into the films as foil for their characters. So it's just, it's brilliant stuff. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Thank you for watching. If it didn't need to be said already, get this release. Like, honestly, if you're on the fence about it, if you're a silent film fan, it's a no-brainer. If you're a Laurel and Hardy fan, it's like you've already got it. Like, you had it yesterday, But if you're not either of those things, it might surprise you. It really might. And I do think that every film has something really entertaining in it. Some are better than others, obviously, but I've just been laughing out loud, grin on my face watching these movies, and so it's the best possible outcome of a Blu-ray for me. It's film education in a box, and it's also just like pure entertainment. So, yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.